Ooh, what's up? What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another session of Coffee and Martial Arts. Salud, salud, salud. Cheers. Oh, good coffee this morning. And better yet, we have a VIP special guest with us today. Right. Yes, it's a good day. And may I remind you, we are transmitting through our the new fan page, the International Hall of Fame, the International Hall of Fame from Argentina. We're in that page, and you can look us up there, okay? And we're also transmitting through my fan page, and we'll be sharing, all of the stuff through our social media like usual, okay? So make sure you tune in. Go get your cup of coffee. Okay, because we do have a great show for you today. So let me just share things here on the web before I bring my guest in. Okay, let's make sure everything's working just fine. Yes, amazing. Okay, 1 second, please. This takes a little bit of time. That's the thing with live broadcast. And we're also transmitting through YouTube, okay? Let's see, we already have comments today. Wow. Carlos Zamora, what's up? Good morning. We have a good show today. We have a very good guest, very special one. Okay. This is a gentleman that has, been around the world. He has martial arts are his lifestyle. He's been doing martial arts for over 30 years, and he travels around the world, and he has a very interesting story to tell us, because he gets to meet and work with the masters, with the grandmasters, but not just that, he gets to work with them in their dojos, in their environment. He travels around, he goes to different countries, and well, why don't I shut up and I bring my guest in and he can tell us. Hello, Master Guro Jablin. How you doing, sir? Did I say your name right? Jablin?
Yes, you did. Absolutely. Yeah. And thank you first to Master Frank. Thank you for letting me be a guest on your show, and welcome all the escrimadores and all the martial artists around the world. We're so happy to have you here today, and I'm quite honored to be a guest to share some of my experiences that I have around the world, and I'm still doing all that. It's quite good. I've made a lifestyle out of it.
Great. Amazing. Oh, thank you for being here. It's an honor.
I go, yeah, I'm excited to talk about some different things with everyone. I'm going to talk a little bit about healing, a little bit about different martial arts systems, about blending, and then talk about a little bit about philosophy, just to give you some insight how I think and how I go through my day-to-day.
Amazing.
I go,
great. I just finished sharing things on the web. So we have a comment here. Let's see. Catherine Sumter saying, good morning, Master Frank and Master Curt. Cheers from CCDP, Squim, Washington, USA. Thank you, Guro Catherine.
Yeah, Catherine's great martial artist. If you're in Washington State, you should definitely look her up. She does some phenomenal things. And I'm going to speak about visiting other dojos and schools around the world, because there are a lot of great places to go to, and she's one of them.
Right. She's been on this podcast a couple of times, and she's going to be back here in February. So, yeah, she's a regular. And I've known Catherine since, I believe it was 2006, in a seminar we did up in Missouri. Yeah. So.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So it's good. And she also said good things about you, sir.
Well, that's always nice to hear from another martial artist and good friend. So thank her. Thank you for that as well. So.
Okay, so every time we start and we have a new guest, I always ask the same first question. Or can you tell us a little bit about your background, who you are in the martial arts, just briefly, so people that are watching get to know who you are and what you do, what are you about, please, sir?
Oh yeah, that's a great opening question. Wow. Um, for me, I have to go way back when I was a kid, and I grew up in New York, and I was small, and I got into my first fight when I was 8, going to the bus, and so I had to learn to defend myself. And in New York, you either survive or you don't survive there. So I
Yeah.
chose to survive. And so I started to learn some basic stuff. My dad taught me a few things. And then I was really interested in sports. And so I've been in through middle school, high school, college, in my travels. I've always done kayaking and scuba diving and any hiking. And it was just part of my lifestyle. So it was only smart that this would be part of my lifestyle and my career. So I ended up being, I got into scuba and ended up meeting Commander Jim Williams, who was head of the Patty College. And if some of you are into diving, you might know Patty as the biggest training agency in the world. And I just ended up doing contract work for him. And he's the one who launched me into doing projects overseas. I was really good at math and science, so I was able to kind of do the things he needed. And so I have my own company, a consulting company around the world, Crystal Diving LLC.com.
Great.
And I just started doing that. And then I started training everywhere I went. I was training with in martial arts with different systems. When I was in Thailand, I was doing Muay Thai all day. I mean, trained scuba in the morning, did my courses as an instructor for people, and then I would train 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 days a week. I mean, for me, it's exciting to stay in shape, but do something that I love and I'm passionate about. It's not work. Right? It's just about learning different ways and different systems. And I'm very open, even after 30 years, I'm open to learning new things and new concepts. As you know, I mean, fighting was different in the 90s and 2000. And now in 2021, you know, it's mixed martial arts. People are very skilled. They see something, they want to try it. And you have to have some training, you know, to understand it. So I would just say this, if you're training in a dojo, that's wonderful. But think about applying it, you know, as you walk around, when you go to the mall, when you get in your car, when you go to the movies, when you're walking around. I mean, that's when it's going to happen. No one cares I have a red belt around my waist, and I rarely ever wear my gi. I mean, even today, I could have worn my gi, but, you know, this is me. You know, someone walks into my house today, I'm pretty ready. I've got a pen. It's a weapon, you know. I've got a dulo. A dulo is a Filipino little object that's pointed on one side, flat on the other. And one of my grandmasters, Chris Petrelli, he's a Ranger tactical fighter. He has this on his hip, and you know, I always ask a lot of questions. So I said, "Hey, Grandmaster Petrelli, you don't carry a knife, you don't carry a blade, you don't get." And as I said that, he took this and pounded this into my body, into my neck, by my eye, into my ear, underneath my neck, over here. And I learned in about 1 minute that this is most dangerous weapon, just this little dulo. But here's the important thing I want to mention, is that most of us around the world, there are laws on how big a knife you can carry. And so just having this on you, you know, I always ask them, what do people say? What do you tell them? They go, oh, I open boxes with this. I go, yeah, but that's not what you use it for. He goes, of course not. It's used as my weapon to block, parry, and do things like that. So it's just interesting that a simple thing like that he carries would work. And I carry that myself, by the way. So
Right. Great. So you mentioned that you have lived in many different countries, right? Because of what you do, because of I guess it's because of the diving stuff and your lifestyle, you know. So can you tell us about that, about your experience in the world, and meeting all these great grandmasters and all these people, this unique lifestyle that you have,
Yeah, and thanks for mentioning that, because most people go to work and they do what they do, and then they fill in with martial arts, and that's great. I think that's a great start. Some of the people I'll mention that I train with, and your audience might know some of them, that obviously the late Grandmaster Ted Sotelo was a student of Bruce Lee, as some of you know. He was great in drills and timing and speed. He had one of the fastest hands. I mean, his hands would just snap and boom, you were hit. And it was like, I need to learn that skill. How do you learn that? So he showed me slowly a bunch of patterns. And he's the only person, by the way, that was able to actually touch Bruce Lee. It's really interesting. And so I learned all these wonderful patterns from him. And the late Grandmaster Richard Busculio, his academy is still in existence, IMB in Los Angeles. And he was a direct student of Bruce Lee, and loved training with him because he had I learned Jeet Kune Do from him, and stick patterns and philosophy on how you move. Wonderful. These people are legends to me because they have their way of teaching. I don't see a lot of people doing. And of course, the late Supreme Grandmaster Kokoi Kanedi lived in the Philippines, and he is a phenomenal martial artist. Just a good person, taught me a lot about body movement, fighting, taught me a lot of things about lifestyle and stuff. I got to see him the last 4.5 years of his life. And if you get a chance to train at the headquarters there, the chief instructor, I want to mention John Mock, who's my instructor there. He's just a phenomenal person, breaks down the skills and does everything from ground fighting to stick fighting. The other person that a lot of you know is Guru Dan Isanto, out of Los Angeles, out of Del Mar. He is one of my favorite instructors. He teaches you so much, and he gives you so much content that literally you cannot fill it into your brain. He gives you too much. I leave and then I spend an hour writing notes, and then I practice with my students. If you get a chance to train with him, he's in his mid-80s now. Wonderful individual. And two-hand Bill McGrath, a Bikini Tertula. I just want to put this up too and share with you. A lot of people ask me about, when I teach my students, about footwork and patterns. And I want to tell you, it comes from working with two-hand Bill McGrath. And this is just, if I could, I'll just put it up. I know it's a little hard to read, but if you Google his webpage, there are over 25 to 30 patterns here. And how you train and how you walk. So when I'm walking in the mall, I'm walking to my car, this is how I walk. This is what I do. I try to incorporate these. This sheet of paper, by the way, is laminated. It's in my car. And all I do is I take one of those patterns and I focus the day on that pattern. And every day I do a different pattern. So, and at the end of a month, I've walked 45 different patterns. I think that's a nice way to think about martial arts, is to make it part of your lifestyle. And it's quite good. There's also the mental, the mind part about martial arts that we all speak about.
Right.
There's a great guy, a good friend of mine, and that is James Seeto, Seetoo. If you Google his name, he has a Facebook page. He is an expert in NLP, which is neuro-logistical programming of your mind.
Is that?
Yes, that's him. that is him. That is James, my good friend. And he has a free Zoom group. He does a lot of stuff on teaching you about the mind and the concepts and how you apply it. There he is. If you Google him and mention my name, I'm sure he'll let you in there for free. And he has some books out. He is a master of making that. The other, and I like, and I just tell you, he brings a whole new experience. When I started talking to him, he's a long range fighter. He studied under Balunkiwa, Tom Barrows. He studied under some great people too. When he lived in San Diego, I loved seeing him all the time, and we'd have phenomenal conversations for hours.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, you need to incorporate your mind as well as the physical and the mental. And I think what my program is a blend of all these wonderful people I'm talking to you about.
Amazing.
And then we could talk about.
Okay, let me just bring the comments in, because we have people saying hello. We have Master Juan Martin Alvarez from Argentina. Excellent show. Greetings from Argentina. Thank you, sir. Luis Gonzalez says hi. Saludos. Maria Lopez says saludos desde Buenos Aires. Cheers from Buenos Aires. Thank you. Rafael Herrera, a big salute, Master from Spain, Andalusia. Wow. Thank you, Rafael.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Martin Perez saying hello. Saludos. Okay. Miguel Ángel Filadoro, saludos cordiales desde Buenos Aires, Argentina. Saying hi from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Seyeido Sudamérica. Emi says, thank you for the transmission. Gracias por la transmisión. Thank you, sir. Gracias. Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no, not at all.
It's good that we have a lot of people listening to this. So,
yeah, go ahead.
So basically, sir, what you're saying, it's that you have been living the life. Now we see all this, the new generations, the so-called millennials, centennials, whatever they call them. But the new generations are really into traveling around the world, and living the experience. That they're all about experiencing these things that you're mentioning. So wow. I mean, it's like you said, it's not the same to be in the dojo training than to experience the attack or the training in the outer world, in the environment itself, and you're considering things and you're taking things to reality, basically. And your experience and your exposure to all these fine gentlemen, amazing masters of the art, really, I mean, it's not just about knowledge, it's about wisdom, it's about experience, it's about all these things that you have. I mean, I think it's truly amazing.
I think what you're saying, you hit the nail on the head. And I love using this as an example to all of our friends out there that are watching your show, is someone asked me recently, how do I defend myself? And I just looked and I said, they were wearing glasses. So I just said, just take the glasses, you could penetrate into someone's equilibrium. I mean, this is if your life is in danger. I don't encourage anyone to do this. Of course, I just want a disclaimer that, if your life's in danger and, you weigh 130 pounds and there's a 215-pound person on you, you want to live. So, right, exactly. That look, that's the look. So here are some things just off the top of the head. I mean, if you have eyeglasses, you could put that, penetrate. You base their head all the time because your head moves if you hit someone, of course. So if you base it and you just penetrate here or into their eye or into their straight up into their throat, straight up, or into their side, sternoclavicle mastoid, like this. I mean, this is one thing. You could use a pen. I always have a pen with me. I attended a seminar, I'm going 25 years ago, and he walked in and he said, everyone have a pen? And we go, yes. He goes, okay, that's the seminar for the next 3 hours. And I'm thinking, like, what can you say for 3 hours on a pen? Well, I could say a lot now because one, I can base it. I can go into your eye, I can go into your nose, I can hit you down here. So I just want to, for you Kyushu pressure point people like me, is if you look at the end of your eye, and I'm just doing a simple example, but at the end of your eye, if you go just straight down, this is stomach 5. It is an earth point. And if you hit the angle and direction down, very simple, just down, and you hit with this, right, just with this. You see in boxing where they hit you down like this, right? They knock them out. They go like, wait a minute, what happened? This guy was like, he's trained for, a year for this fight. And one guy hits him right here. Well, the nerve is right along the jawline. So when you go pow like that, it's kind of, you either get dizzy or knocked out, one or the other. But my point is that just so simple, goes straight down. So I was showing this gal that, and she went like, wow. So then she took her knuckle and she went like this and tapped me, and I wasn't ready. Okay, I'm being honest. I wasn't. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. And I went like this. I went like, okay, that works. All right. And then at the end of your mouth, if you go straight down, MH18. It's a hollow point. If you pound and you go straight down. Again, you have to understand angle and direction, a little about pressure points. It works.
Right.
People I know, that's one. I just had yogurt, right? I have a spoon. In my hand. Could I use the spoon as a weapon? Oh yeah, of course I can. I can use it in lots of different directions, right? I know if you can't see, breathe, I know I can get away. And I want to mention this to everyone. You're about getting away. You're not here to fight anyone because you don't know the level of training. If you come against me, I don't think you have a good day. But I'm just saying, you just want to get away. And even me, I just want to get away. I'm not here to sit around and fight 5 guys. I'm going to do what I can to get away. So that's one of the things I've learned about training, just using things that I have that are around me. This gal had a little spray bottle with her in her purse like this. And I said, oh, okay, so you could spray it into their eyes. And she goes, what else can I do? And then I showed her that, and she went like this immediately. She hit right down on stomach 5, an earth point. And you don't think that hurts? I'm not encouraging you to try that right now today, but it will work. Or you hit down on MH18 and just hit down. Angle and direction. Angle and direction matter in pressure points and things. So if you study that art or you don't, I mean, just get a little foundation. It does work. I know a lot of people like hitting into over here, into your ribs, right? Liver 14 and gallbladder 25. If you hit the angle and direction up, it has to be in this direction. You can knock the wind out of somebody or definitely stop them for a second to escape. And that's what, if you look at boxing, if you look at them when they box, I've done boxing in every country that I've gone to. And, when I hit them with that and you hit them uppercut here, right? And down here, you would be amazed how many people drop. And I'm talking, everyone's bigger than me. I could just tell you, I know you can't see me in person, but I'm only 5'7".
Right.
And so I love hitting them there, and I like hitting up because I can always get your jaw.
Of course.
So it's just something to think about. I'm just saying something to think about. I don't have all the answers, but I think that it's important to do things that are simple. So it becomes muscle memory. So I practice things all the time for muscle memory and stuff. So I hope that gives some people ideas.
And I think it's also very interesting that you use other models like NLP, and because that's also amazing, not just for teaching, as a teaching tool. If you have NLP and you know how to model people and their visual, audio, or kinesthetic and all those type of things, and using the language of a non-communication or verbal, not just the verbal communication, and also the fact that you can use that for stopping the fight or for persuading a person, that you have the communication skills. What can you tell us about that? Because I think that's also something that is not really explored by martial artists.
Absolutely correct. I think that, and I think the best person to talk to you is my friend James, and he has some seminars and he has some trainings. He has a lot of stuff. First, I want to mention on Facebook that's free, and he's always talking about stuff. And then I think about it and I go, wow, I never thought of it that way. Or maybe I never even thought about it. So what it is the power of persuasion, the words you use, your body language. So example would be like, let's say I'm looking at Master Frank right now, and I look at his face and I look at his body language, and it projects. His face projects positive energy, smiles, happiness. His eyes are sharing like, okay, I'm engaged. But if you look at a person that's going to maybe attack you or maybe thinking in a different way, you should be able to read people's face. So he has a course on that. Very simple. Body language, how a person moves. You know, when I walk with authority. You know that. You're not going to, you'll think 3 times before you'll think about attacking a little guy like me. But I can tell you one thing, if you make a move, your shoulder moves, I will counter you. I will not wait for you to come all the way out here.
Right.
Not even, won't even cross my mind. So that's why you need that component. And I call that in your toolbox. The more things you have in your toolbox, the better you're going to be. And some people say, I'm not a big fan of kicking high. My friends that are Taekwondo around the world love kicking me in the head, or at least they try to. And of course, I use pressure points hitting the inside of your thigh, your leg, inside of your leg, on spleen, liver, and kidney. And when I hit it, your leg drops.
Right.
And once I'm in, I'm in, and then I'm gonna do joint manipulation, which I love, and I'm gonna move you down, whether I'm using your fingers or your head, countering it that way. So these are strategies, and I want to just say this: the way I teach is I teach you concepts and I teach you strategies. So it doesn't matter what they do. You know, I always tell people, they go like, well, what do you want me to do? I go, well, do whatever you want to do. And whatever you do, I teach my students strategies and concepts, and they're able to use that when they fight. I know in 2019, I was fighting for the United States stick fighting team, and people ask me, well, how did you train for that? You know, that's huge. You're fighting lots of people from different countries. And one of the things I use, oh yeah, that was the semifinals that I just won, which was quite good. Um, uh, and we were in Taekwondo Times in November of 2019, and Catherine helped get that article out on our team. One of the things about the training is, and I'll mention this about training for a world tournament. You've got to be disciplined, and I trained early in the morning and then early in the evening every single day for 6 months before the event. I trained for a year, so every day I was out on the mat training, and I think that's really an important concept to understand. And also, training partners I had were from all systems. And I trained with people that did Taekwondo, Aikido, pressure point, knockout systems, all these systems, and they all move differently. So it made me, I had to adjust all the time. And that's where all that footwork that I showed you all played in, that I used from Pikiti Tertiula, because I kept moving to the side of them and hitting them. And I was moving in lots of different ways. And I think that it really, really helped me out a lot. Over here, I have, at this tournament, I took gold in double stick, bronze in single stick, and my 3-man team took silver. We were fighting Australia. They had a phenomenal team and stuff. But I mean, this just reminds me about my training. It's not so much the award, it's that the training I did and how I trained worked. It worked. And that's really the message for me, because to me, it's about getting other people to do the techniques. It's nice that like Master Frank can do the techniques, and I can do the techniques, and we have lots of great instructors around the world that can do techniques. Can you get your students to do the techniques? You know, can you break it down so they understand it? can you give them good examples, good analogies and stuff? So, and I do that lots of ways. I like teaching dirty boxing. Okay. It's a wonderful way to learn really quick whether you've got a skill or you don't. It's from the Philippines. It's just a great tool. I know. Yeah,
let me share some comments here.
Yeah.
We have Ronald Briones saying hi from Ecuador. Saludos from the equator. Yes. Gracias. Jaime Jerez Enriquez says, un gran saludo, Master Frank, desde Concepción, Chile. Saying hi from Concepción, Chile. Yes, thank you. Fergus Kelly saying, greetings, gentlemen, from Dublin.
Wow.
Master Jablin, we call what you were saying, speak softly, but carry a big stick.
Yes.
It's a metaphor, but doesn't have to be. We got that. Yes, we did.
You're right. She's absolutely right. That's great.
Okay. Carlos Zamora says, ha ha ha. I remember an old seminar with Taekwondo people when a guy tried to kick Master Frank in the head. The floor wasn't soft to him. I don't remember that. No, can't recall.
You can't recall.
So anyway, yeah, we have a lot of people watching. Let's see. Hector Lerna saying hi from Uruguay. Grandmaster Hector Lerena. Thank you, Hector. Thank you, Grandmaster. So we have a lot of people watching from different places. Wow. So, sir, earlier before we got on live, we were talking a little bit, and you mentioned it, a story in, what was it, Belize?
Yeah.
Can you share that story? That's because I think it's a good one.
Yeah, of course. Sometimes all of us go out and we do our day-to-day chores and stuff. It just at that point in my life, I was living in Central America in Belize City, and I was sitting down after a long day of doing scuba and training, and I was sitting down and I was eating my dinner. And my back is always to the wall, just because that's the way I think that, if someone's coming at me, at least I could see them in my angle. I had a spoon. This is what I was eating, soup and like that. And some guy was talking, he's just rattling off that he didn't like, Americans, you're in our country. And I ignore people because I know sometimes people get into politics or whatever they think, and so, but what changed the experience for me is he pulled a knife out on me while I was in the restaurant, and pulled the knife straight out to me like this, and when you're going towards my throat, so I had my spoon, I was able to get his, I grabbed his hand, pounded his hand, and then I came around with the spoon in his head. I smashed into the table, which broke his nose. But but the point was that I had him in 2 finger locks, and I was able to base him to the side of me. And the bouncer of the restaurant, who was out there because there's a lot of security, came in, and I took him in a lock, and the bouncer took him out with the same lock, which was really interesting to me because when he came back to me, he goes like, "Who are you?" Because those locks that you're doing are tactical fighting techniques. And I go, "Yeah, what's really interesting, you use the same technique that I use." And he goes, "Yes." And we were talking about Professor Dave Costoli. He is a great professor. I train with him in street fighting, and his whole system is based on knives and bats and blades. So if you're sitting, you're standing, or you're up against a wall, his whole thing is, what do you do if you have, and I'm just proposing it to your audience, but if you just put a knife against your neck, like, how do you get that off your neck without cutting yourself, or into your, up above here, or they put it to your cheek like this, or they put it into your nose, right? Or come up under your arm and they try to stab you that way, or your back. So it was just interesting that I was talking to him about Professor Costoli's techniques, and he said that's phenomenal that it's been researched and worked on, and so I love teaching his system to people just on weapons, as well as the Filipino ways, because they fought the Spaniards, and look at them, they were phenomenal. I mean, people laugh when I came to the Philippines. They think I'm a big American. I'm laughing because I'm going like I'm 5'7". No, big American is like 6'20", 220 pounds, and 6'1", 6'2". That's not me. But my point was that a Filipino guy is about 130 pounds, and he's lightning fast. I mean, he's just cutting you up so many times. So as part of training always is to train a little bit more for reality. So in a controlled, safe environment, do some of your training up against the wall, sitting down. Do it, where it's in the conditions that something might really happen. And it's good, and do it in a dojo, of course. But then, when I'm home and I'm sitting down, and my wife takes out, a knife or a spoon, and all of a sudden, it's coming towards me. It's like, okay.
By the way, somebody's saying,
what?
Somebody's saying hello there.
Oh, that's my wife. Yeah.
That's the real grandmaster right there.
That is the real grandmaster.
I have a wife too, man, and she said, "You're gonna go to sleep." Oh, okay.
Well, right.
My wife.
You must always sleep with one eye open and at least a spoon underneath your pillow. So let me say something about my wife. I mean, she's a Filipina. I mentioned to you that Grandmaster Ted Sotelo had one of the fastest hands. Right. And I got to work with him and one of Bruce Lee's original students. The other person and I've trained with thousands of people, and I've been in over 43 countries now and stuff. The person that is second fastest in hands is my wife. I mean, it is amazing how fast a pot can come towards your head, and how you block. She can tag you, and if some of you want to try this, in 10 seconds, see how many hits. And I have this with me. If you have a stick, right, and see how many times in 10 seconds you can hit, right? My wife could do in 1 second 4 hits. So in 10 seconds she hit you 40. You're already hit. In 30 seconds. I mean, she's hit you 120 times at least. And she gets faster because when a real fighter, as you all know, is about bouncing. You're hitting and bouncing. You're not just hitting, reset. There's no reset. It's bounce, 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 hit. You're hitting puño, pole. You're hitting. And so I really appreciate, I'm very lucky, of course, that my wife entertains me. And she also, always challenging me. So when you do like Huba, or you're doing a passing drill, she has made me faster. I mean, and I have to give credit to people that have helped me improve. Everyone helps you, but she's really fast and she's really good at breaking down skills. She was also a student of the late Supreme Grandmaster Kokoi. So if you want us to do a seminar together, hold on to your hat, because it will be exciting. It'll be challenging. You'll walk away learning a lot. And I do seminars all over the world. I'll fly to Costa Rica, Honduras, Argentina. And I have been doing that for over 20 years now on the traveling side. So thank you to her for her help and keeping me up on my toes. So I'm good for at least another 30 years.
Well, hello to her. Hello, ma'am. Nice to
Gemma. Yeah, Gemma.
Nice to meet you this way through your hubby. She said, right? I'm honored. So, okay, we have a question here. Sigong Robert Araux says, "What do you know about Kaju Kembo?"
I have a background in Kaji Kempo from Grandmaster Ted Sotelo. He was a Grandmaster in that system.
Right.
I've also trained with a couple of other good Grandmasters in Kaji Kempo. It's a good system. You fight well. It's got a lot to it and stuff. And I think that if you do that system, you're going to be very good. I think
Agreed.
with all systems now, you're
Right.
going to need to add, in my opinion, you're going to have to add some ground fighting. Even if you're not a ground fighter, you got to learn some BJJ. You have to learn judo. My judo instructor in Arizona just happens to be from Japan. He lived in Los Angeles. He taught celebrities. His wife got asthma, so she moved to Mesa, Arizona. And I'm very fortunate. He teaches me in Japanese.
Beautiful.
You can't test in English. He goes, you must learn the terms and the language. And I like that. In the Philippines, when I teach Filipino martial arts, they should know what armor is. Armor is taking a bunch of techniques and putting it together into flow. You have to learn some of the languages of the art. You have to learn some of the history. And I think it gets back to what you said, Master Frank, is that, sometimes people just want to, they just want to do it. Well, you got to learn a little bit of the terms, because when you start using their terminology, they go, wow, this person took time to study that and they understand what they're doing. I think that's an important concept to also bring into the picture. So I think if you're a traveler, like you said earlier, when you travel, what art do you like? Go and try it and get out of your comfort zone. I am always out of my comfort zone. I mean, I'm doing Aikido. I've got a great Aikido instructor in the Philippines. And every time he throws me into the wall and I'm in the air and I'm 3 feet high, I go, there's still more to learn. And I like that. And I like, challenge yourself. Do Thai boxing, do Muay Thai, do ground fighting, do judo, do pressure points. Get a foundation, because you don't know who you're going against. If you go against a pressure point person like me or judo or Filipino, I think the Filipino martial arts for me brought me to a whole different level on how I spar, how I move. I love that. And I encourage everyone to do that. Research some of the instructors in your country and go to some of those grandmasters, spend a little time. I'm lucky because I live in countries for 6 months or a year and I train every day. And, of course, I'm very fortunate that a lot of people I've trained with, unfortunately, have passed away. But there's other great people that are out there, like Grandmaster Chris Petrelli. There are great people in Mexico. There's great people, all over in Costa Rica. If you're going to those places, why not take some of your vacation time and just whatever? Every day, take 2 hours, just 2 hours. Just think what you can learn. And I have one other small hint that I think that's worked really well for me, and I just share it. But I like to read 5 or 10 pages a day on. I'm reading The Art of War right now again, because I love the. It's just every time I read it, I pick up something new. But developing the leader within you. How do you become a good leader? How do you become and I think that a lot of you will know John C. Maxwell. His stuff is online, really good. Something within, sometimes you win it, sometimes you lose. The more matches I lose, the more I learn. And I'm very humbled to say that, because I love winning, of course. But when I lose, I learn what did they have. And I always walk over to that person that has beat me. And I say, can you teach me what just happened to me? And you know what? It's almost 100% of the time they will do it. When I was in the world tournament, people came to me and said, what just happened? I don't know what happened. This was 1 minute of a blur. And I said, well, this is what I was using. Because you move this way, that's why I use this pattern. So this book I love. It says sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. It's just that reading, different books enhances you as a martial artist. And I think in martial arts schools, a lot of us don't require our students to read or log. Like I have my students log every time they do a lesson with me. They have a book. They write out the lesson that I did. They draw pictures, stick figures, whatever. But it enhances the concepts. That's John C. Maxwell, just a phenomenal individual.
Right.
I just
Okay, we have Miss Jablin says, "Nice to meet you too. Saludos." Nice. Thank you. It's an honor, man. It's an honor.
And by the way, she speaks 10 languages, so Spanish is not. You could speak Spanish to her, and she's excellent.
Wow, that's great. Fergus Kelly says, genuine question, not trying to start an argument. Why do striking arts need to add ground game? My instructor, Senior Professor Juan McDermott, swears by doing our Kempo on a horizontal plane instead of doing anything new. Do you want to answer that, sir?
Yeah, sure. I can give you my opinion, and then I'll let Master Frank give his. When I spar, I never want to go to the ground. Never. But there are people that are very fast and can get you to the ground. And I think that you have to have a ground game now in 2021 because people practice. I'm more worried about the guy who does the same knows 5 moves, but he's done it 50,000 times, versus the guy who knows 100 moves and he's done each one maybe 1,000 times. Right. So I think you got to be well-rounded. And I'm not disagreeing with your professor. I think his principle is good. I think that you just need to think about all the components we're kind of talking about now, about ground fighting, judo, knowing weapons, knowing multiple arts, because it's now a blend of arts now. It's no longer single arts. Look at TV at MMA. Most of those people have 2 or 3 black belts in systems. They're very dangerous, very dangerous. Right. And I follow that, by the way. The late Supreme Grandmaster Kokoi Kennedy. When I went into his house, he was always watching, boxing and different sports. And then he would bring in one of his grandmasters or one of his masters, and he would try the same technique with the stick, and he would modify it, and it would then become a drill. And then it's like we're fighting with that drill. And one of the things that I learned from him is that he would make you fight with like maybe 2 drills maybe you'd fight for 45 minutes, and you couldn't use anything else. So you had to learn how to get into it, how to get out of it, how to escape from it. It was wonderful lessons. Right. And that's why I teach that way now too in my program. Okay. So I'll let you go on.
Just to add to it, I think you cover it very well. I think that's a great answer. But I'm also a Kempo guy, and I'm also, I've been doing Kempo for many, many years, and I've also heard this argument before. My former instructor used to say you can do it Kempo on a horizontal plane. Yes, you can. I agree with that, but it's not a bad idea. See, if you see behind me, right? I do the Kempo stuff, and we have this up and down open mat thing, and I have a partnership with Sensei Salas, which is a BJJ and Jiu-Jitsu guy. He does Japanese and Brazilian. So it's always about adding and being inclusive, okay? It's not a bad idea. Yes, you can apply the Kempo principles on a horizontal plane, but if you go to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy who's doing this every time, over and over, and who's a master in this, you're going to learn much more, right? And like you said, Master Guro, you put it in your toolbox, right? So the more tools you have available, the easier the work will be for you. So it's not that Kempo doesn't work. It's that Kempo, it is a striking art. And actually, the complement of Kempo is Jiu-Jitsu. That's the opposite art. So it's a good idea to have, there's a concept in Kempo that says for every concept, principle, and theory, there is an opposite and a reverse. So the opposite of Kempo is Jiu-Jitsu. So learn the ground. It's a good idea, yes. And we have a good friend here saying hi. Maestro Jerry Arrechea, mi hermano, how you doing, brother? He says, regards, Kurt, abrazo, Frank. Oh,
There you
So,
go, like that.
yeah, Jerry, it's a very, very good friend of mine. You know him, of course. He a student of the late Richard Bustillos and
Yeah.
of Cacoy Cañete, the late Grandmaster, great Grandmaster Cacoy Cañete. And he lives in Mexico City, and we've been close friends for the past, I don't know, 18 years, I think. So good friend. We also have a comment here from Maestro Scott Higgins. Good morning, Masters. Did you have the opportunity to work with Angel Cabales? Scott is asking you, sir.
No, I haven't. Not directly, no. I've worked with students around the world that were tied in some way to him. So a lot of times I do work directly with grandmasters because I'm living in the system and they're there. But sometimes I work directly with students of grandmasters because the grandmaster may be traveling and be out of the country. So that's where we're at with that.
Right.
Yeah.
So another thing we haven't talked about, and we still have 10 more minutes, and I wanted to ask you about, because you mentioned this earlier. You said you're also into the healing arts, and I believe it's actually truly important if you want to you want to have a complete understanding of the arts. You have the hurting arts, right, and
Yeah.
you also have the healing arts. So, like I said, opposite and reverse. So if you know how to destroy or devastate somebody, it's a good idea to know how to bring them up or heal them up, right? And it also gives you that approach that you were mentioning at the beginning, of the pressure points and learning where the meridians are at. That also comes from the healing arts. So,
Yeah.
what can you share with us about that, sir?
So one of the things I think that's important, exactly what you said, is that we tend to teach people destruction. So in Ruki Kempo, we teach cycle of destruction, cycle of creation, yin and yang. These three systems destroy your body. And at what level? Well, it depends how sensitive you are to pressure points or how your body responds. So on the healing side, I think there's a phenomenal guy who I teach a lot of his stuff, and that is Grandmaster Shane Lear, Lear. He's in Ohio, and one of the programs I teach is the art of longevity, and it's how to live a healthy lifestyle and some of the things that you can do. Okay, and he put that into a DVD like this. The other kata I like teaching is to strengthen your kidneys. And so there's a simple kata that you can do that helps strengthen your organs. I think that's very important. I think meditation, if you have to pick one thing, and I'm going to pick meditation, that's him. That is Grandmaster Shane Lear. If some of you have not had a chance, join his Facebook page, tell him I said hi, and he has wonderful things out. He does some seminars too. So think about Grandmaster Shane Lear. So one of the things I like is meditation, preparation for you to do things. So I'm going to do this for a minute. And all I'm going to ask you to do, everyone, is just listen and see how you feel 12 seconds after this. And that's using sound. I lived in China, and I trained with the Shalong monks, which was a very unique experience in itself because it's a lifestyle for them. How they live 12, 14 hours a day, most of us in America couldn't do. Just their diet, the way they go to day. But for me, I wanted to go through the experience, and I did, and I loved it. So here is a symbol in your city you could buy at any martial art store, Southeast Asian store. So let's do a sound for a minute, okay? Here we go. So if you're breathing and inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth, you'll see that sound will center you. It will get you in a good place. It will center your body. When we do meditation, I like using music. I like using sound like that. Some of you might be familiar about the second thing, like right before you go to sleep. At least twice a week, I do this. My wife does it like 5 times a week because she's better at doing it than me. And that is the 7 chakras of the body, which goes from your navel all the way up to your head. It uses color. And what it does is you can Google the 7 chakras of the body, which is a red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, purple. And what it does is there it is. And what it is listen for 15 or 20 minutes as you're in bed sleeping. And what it does is it will align your body. And all of us live stressful lives. So I think it's good to include that in your lifestyle. So you're not doing it once a month. You're going to do it 2 or 3 times a week and maybe twice a week like me. And you just keep doing it. And does it work? Oh, yeah. Do I feel it? Absolutely. Because I allow it to happen to me. I accept it. I don't fight it. I go, okay, I need balance in my life. And I learned that from traveling around the world because we go, 16 hours a day. It's not healthy. You need to have balance. So you need to do that. You need to develop a stress-free life. I know easier said than done, but how I go through my day is about making it balanced. And sometimes, yes, we have some days that are crazy, but, and the other thing I learned is, do this. I challenge you to try to make 3 people laugh every day. I challenge you because you're going to see that it will not only put a smile on you, put a smile on them, but the word will change them. You need to be spiritual. You need some type of spiritual in your life. Whatever you believe in, I'm just saying you need to believe in something.
Totally agree.
And you need to love what you do every day. If you're doing something you don't like, change it. I mean, I can't do something 50, 60 hours a week that I hate. I wouldn't do that. And give more than you receive. I always give stuff and I don't expect anything back. I just think of the other person. I put myself in their shoes. And last, be humble. If you're humble, you'd be amazed how things come into alignment in your life. I feel very humble and honored to be on this show because there are hundreds of people that want to be on Master Frank Soto's show.
You're too nice.
You're too nice. He makes a decision on what kind of guests that he wants to bring into all of you around the world. I think that's really, excuse me, that's important.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Mr. Higgins still wants to ask a quick follow-up. Are you familiar with the system of Sarada? Just 1 second. And we have Fergus Kelly say, I managed to make people laugh without trying. Oh, so you must be a funny guy. Good. Amazing. Excellent. People have that. Some people have that, that skill. A nice spirit, or we call it here light blood. We call it here in Mexico, sangre liviana.
Yeah.
That and they make you laugh just with, just by sharing time with them. That's amazing.
So when you talk about happy and smiling, some people say I can't do it. Why don't you just smile in front of the mirror? Then smile when you're in your coffee shop or wherever you are, like Master Frank Soto is doing right now. You will be amazed of people's reaction. Right. Yes, for me, I developed it. Did I do it when I was a teenager or in my early 20s? I didn't. And I'm being honest and transparent with you. I developed it. But now, if I walk in a room, the room will light up. Why? Because I own that. I take ownership. Try to smile. Be happy. Say, I can. And you will. It's just a skill. You got to practice it. It's like all these weapons that I have with me. By the way, when I started martial arts, this was my worst skill. My worst. And my grandmaster told me, he goes, I don't know if weapons are for you. And I said to myself, I'm going to practice and practice and practice and practice. And I did. And now it's my number 1 skill.
Great. Well, there's a saying that says, there's a teaching that says my greatest weakness will become my greatest skill.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Fergus Kelly says, I hope that's what it is. Thank you. Well, sir, we are out of time. This was, this was great. Thank you so much for sharing. The time just went by so fast. That happens when you're having a good time. I want to also congratulate you, sir, if I may, for your, your long life career and your lifestyle in the martial arts. It's inspiring, that's what I look for when I invite somebody into the show, somebody that can inspire people and set this positive energy of, people to follow, right? To follow the path of the martial arts and to see that it's about, having positive things happening in your life. Catherine says, great talk, Master Frank and Master Curt. Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. And thanks to everyone that watched us. So if there's anything you want to add, we have like 30 seconds.
If you want to contact me,
yes, please.
You can go to my website. It's the word Crystal, CRYSTAL, diving, DIVING, LLC.com. And you can get me through social media. You can get me through WhatsApp, Skype, Facebook, and I'd love to come there, do a seminar with you in collaboration, and share some mutual things. I love promoting martial arts. It's a lifestyle for me. I love walking around and trying new things, and I love learning from you as well. So I hope that I can come and visit your country, wherever some of you are. You have a wonderful audience, and thank everyone for all the questions. And again, special thanks to Master Frank Soto. Thank you very much for having me as a guest this Tuesday.
Thank you, sir. So you have that. The website is right there on the screen that you can go to, crystaldivingllc.com. Okay, so you can see it there. And if they look for you in social media, they look you with the same Crystal Diving, or how?
Yeah, mostly Crystal Diving, in Skype, WhatsApp, Facebook. It's my name, Jablin, Captain. I'm a U.S. Coast Guard Captain too. So you can find me on Facebook there. Any of those things. If you go to crystaldivingllc.com, go to contact us, and you'll see I have a calendar, and you could just set an appointment, and we could just talk, and then we can write some messages back to Master Frank. And that would be great.
Great. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for this. Thank you for your time. I always appreciate the time that people get to share with us. And everybody who's watching, if you can take advantage of this, do so. I really suggest. We don't get to see much of this. There's a lot of people who are knowledgeable, but the experience of traveling around and training with the masters at their place, at their home, that's something to learn and to cherish and to share. So thank you again, sir. And you have a great day.
You as well. Everyone else, enjoy your day or evening wherever you are in the world.
Okay. Take care.